I almost feel bad that you took such detailed notes on this show.
Dude, and I'll explain it in the beginning.
You want to know what might be the worst part? As a glutton for punishment, I kind of want to watch Mayhem 2000.
2000?
Yeah, it's a November one. So
do that for future episodes, what you're saying?
Like, I kind of want to do it soon. I kind of want to see what happens in this shit show.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how good this one ends up being, because, like I said,
Being
this was a grind watching this.
Well, Josh mentioned watching Mayhem 2000. I think we were talking about Scotty Steiner. And Josh mentioned, like, I'm watching Mayhem 2000. Like, and I was like, we're actually watching and reviewing Halloween Havoc. So I was like, do that. And he just moved, so he's been short on time.
Gotcha.
Been a busy fella and all that jazz. So we'll have to get him on to talk about shitty wrestling at some point. Or good wrestling. Or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, we should throw some shitty wrestling in there for sure. But
we did. That's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Should we tell them about it?
Yeah, I guess with that said, welcome to Ohio Wrestlecast number 29.
29. I asked today. I didn't know. I didn't do the research myself. I asked Mark to look it up to see which episode we're on. Oh, yeah. But we did avoid the 15, 20 seconds of us going, shit, what is it now? Yeah. So we did dodge that at the very least.
But we still did take the 10 or 15 seconds to talk about how we remembered. So
that's pretty good. Now it is November 1st as we're sitting here recording, but you're still in the spirit.
This is, since we're watching Halloween Havoc 2000 in this one, just spoiler alert.
I
figured this is technically
the title.
But this is technically our Halloween episode.
It is
so
our Halloween
I might as well
episode.
dress up in my go-to costume.
That's your go-tos. Is what you do yearly. As we're getting older, man, there's less and less Halloween parties. Like, I don't know. I think that was like a 20s thing where, you got the girls got to dress like skeezers and we got to get drunk and try to see what we can do. Because it's 30, now, granted, I had a busy weekend anyways, but 37 years old, I'm like, I don't want to go to a Halloween party. Like, that sounds like a lot.
No.
Doing a lot of Jello shots and regretting my life the next day. And I don't need that.
Yeah. No, I'm not much of a party guy anyway, but I guess a Halloween party makes it a little more fun for me, so I'm kind of on the opposite end.
If you can't do a costume, I'll tell you the most classic one was Jeff doing Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
Jeff doing Dog the Bounty Hunter. Josh was Beth with the blonde wig and balloons and a shirt.
Wow.
Me, I got the easy route. I just wore a backwards cap and a black shirt and blue jeans, and I was Dwayne Lee. Alex Cetera was Leland, and we...
so you guys had the whole crew.
Or no, he was Youngblood. He was Tim. He was the brother. And what we could do for the shitty ponytail was we actually took a mop and braided some strands of a mop and then taped it to the back of a hat.
Wow.
And we did this, and then we actually raided everybody's Halloween parties that they knew was happening. So people would invite us to the Halloween parties, and we'll be like, yeah, we'll see what we can do. We each had separate ones. I went to Parfell's, which happy birthday, Chris Parfell. You ain't gonna, you're not gonna watch this or listen, but happy birthday to you anyways.
Happy birthday, sir.
But so I was like, yeah, we'll tell Parfell, we'll go to his, and then you guys tell this guy, yeah, maybe we'll see what we can do.
Yeah,
that sort of thing, and then we would crash it and bust in like Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Put on a fucking show.
We put Parfell in cuffs. His dog was trying to attack me, so I sprayed him with Axe body spray as my pepper spray. Chris Reynolds was there dressed as Jesus, and then Jeff was just selling how excited he was as dog to be there in the presence of Jesus.
I bet.
No, that's how it's done Halloween style. Haven't done that for a while.
I believe it. No, I couldn't tell you the last
to run
time.
that back. It was fun. Do Dog the Bounty Hunter again.
Oh yeah.
Just raid somebody's Halloween party. That sounds like fun.
Actually, go for it. I'm sure Jeff would be down.
Jeff wouldn't hesitate, I'm sure.
He's probably still got the his whole get up for it, I would imagine.
Yeah, I doubt it, but even if he doesn't, he probably wouldn't mind getting it again.
He'll figure it out. He'll find it. Yeah. But yes, this is.
I'll tell you what, too. I don't. Are you a What We Do in the Shadows fan?
I am. I actually saw a picture of you wearing that shirt.
So if you had a toothpick available, I could be Jackie Daytona for you.
I don't have
toothpicks.
Well,
then I'm just a common vampire.
That's too
and I'm
bad.
not a human bartender.
Yeah.
You'd be able to tell who I was. My disguise is no good.
No, I tried to give you a heads up a little bit. I was a little too late. But,
I was working, pal. I was coming from work today.
I get it. At least, okay. With me doing it, we at least put in half.
You got the festive, and I'm half Jackie Daytona, human bartender. Yeah. So we'll take it.
All right. But yes, I love that show and I love that shirt too.
Oh, what a great show. Before we dive in, I guess we could talk a little current wrestling. And you got a chance to catch Crown Jewel? You got on it earlier than I did.
I did. I did. It was happening while I was at work, so I had to come home and I had to wait an hour and a half to 2 hours
Peacock
for it to finish
yeah.
and then for them to actually make it replayable. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't want to start at like the second or third to last match.
Right.
So,
well,
but yes, I did watch it.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna.
Cut it out now, sir. Cut it out now. Go lay down. But yeah, I did eventually watch it, and it was worth the wait, I thought.
No, let's give credit where it's due. WWE and of course Saudi Arabia, it's controversial. Now normally those Saudi Arabia shows kind of suck. You kind of feel like them like putting on a watered down version of even themselves and going like, here's some WWE for you, Saudi Arabia. Here's all my biggest stars, but the matches usually aren't particularly great. Not a lot of story going forward.
They don't lead to anything. They kind of just.
We'll give credit where it's due. I don't know that there was a bad match on the show.
No, they were. I mean, it's been a couple weeks now since it happened, but from what I remember, like it was consistently good, and every match seemed to have meaning as opposed to the other ones kind of
as crazy
didn't. Only
as
like the main event matches did.
Well, as crazy as even Goldberg and Bobby Lashley was pretty
surprisingly
damn
good.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought it was a great show all around.
For sure.
And the crowd's always hot for it. I wasn't sure who it. I honestly thought it was Anderson Silva was the karate guy with the turban coming out for the.
I wasn't sure who that was going to be.
They're building this guy up, but playing he was a Saudi karate expert, a silver medalist or something. So it was a big deal to that crowd, and they popped for it. So he was sitting at home going, "Hey, I have no idea who this guy is," but it was a big deal to that crowd, which made made it feel cool at home as well. So this guy's on one today.
He really is. Is he sticking around?
It's hard to say.
Or did he just come in to save the dude?
I feel like it was probably more of a let's pop the hometown crowd, the Saudi crowd. He was a big sports star there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has any sort of training or anything like that. I've not followed any sort of behind the scenes news, but
okay.
But good matches all around. McIntyre Big E was good. Reigns and Lesnar finished thoroughly entertaining.
Like I said, it's all kind of a blur to me now. I'm trying to remember things I enjoyed about it. I remember there was a couple flubs in the women's match, 3-way match.
Yeah.
And it's always weird them wearing like the t-shirts and stuff.
True.
But like but it was still pretty good.
Working hard, felt like big stars there. Becky was huge over there. They had no interest in her heel turn.
No, nobody really does. But
we're behind her.
Although I think she's doing all right as a heel. Like the first night she like debuted as a heel or whatever, it wasn't quite working. But she's gotten slowly. Better at being a heel.
Just turn up the dickhead persona little by little, and
And I love the like triple threat.
The triple threat.
I love it.
Every time Sasha Banks, what about you disco ball? Or something? I mean, she's on fire right now. And I'm a huge Sasha fan, as you know. Bianca is still working on me. I think it might be the problem. I think Becky's too big of a star, and Bianca's a babyface they're trying to build currently. Yeah. And then on the other side, you still have Charlotte as a top, definitely heel. So it's the women they know are heels, and the ones that they're trying to build up now as babyfaces. I think it's going to take a little time.
I think Charlotte's got some heat too backstage.
She looks miserable out there. I don't know if it's just her heel persona or if it's, but she seems like she's miserable. And
I almost feel like she's like contemplating AEW, even though I was told she'd never leave.
I think Rick himself said that,
but I don't get it. I heard that she some people in the back have some heat. She's got some heat because she wants to be heel, but she's doing babyface moves in the ring.
Possibly.
I
don't think
anybody
has
outside of the ring.
Well, that's a possibility too, but I don't know. If anything, I don't think anybody has any right to tell Charlotte Flair what she should or shouldn't do in the ring.
No, for sure.
She's earned that much.
I agree, and that's like part of her moveset.
It is. Yeah. But I figured we'd talk about a little bit of positivity before we get into the negativity. Now, a couple months ago, we did a summer show. We covered Heatwave 98 from ECW, which is often known as one of the best ECW shows of all time. For growing up, you were a little bit on the outside looking in of ECW. So going back and catching all that up and going, this is a pretty damn good show. We should go back and watch it and see how you feel. I thought it was a good idea. So I said, and we're in a little bit of a downtime as far as current wrestling and everything. So maybe do another review show. It was fun. And you suggested, I think, Halloween Havoc 97, which is known as a pretty damn good show.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's go the other direction. Let's either do 98, which has the infamous Warrior Hogan match, or let's even go to like 2000, Dying Days to WCW. And I think that's what we landed on that.
Yeah.
And I think we can talk about not only this show, but briefly touch on because it could be a whole episode of its own, but just how fast WCW rose and how fast it crashed. And because you're going to see some numbers in just a 2-year span of how quickly things got sideways there. And when you think about Nitro was in 95, so call the rise, really call it about 90, even 94 with Hogan going in if you want to, but 94, 95 was when WCW started rising and from, being a legitimate player.
Yeah.
So for 95 and this being just 5 years later where they're basically on their way out. Yeah. And think about what happened to WWE 5 years ago. It feels like yesterday. Like everything's, as the machine runs, it runs fairly smooth, a little up, a little bit of down. But they went from their highest peak in like 96 NWO to this in 4 years. That's wild.
And back then it felt like a lot longer. It didn't feel like, looking back, it's only 4 years. So 4 years is a long time, but not as long as it felt.
Not in the grand scheme of things.
It felt like a whole decade.
AEW's been around for 2 years. So if AEW was, as doing great by most people's standards and then was crashed and gone in about 2 years, would be, in the same amount of time, would be about this arc, which is wild when you think about it.
Because it was kind of a slow fall over time. Walter, chill.
But
this might be a noisy one, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess so. We got some upset pups today, and
they're all moody or something.
Even Lenore's like, this is some shit.
It's the day after Halloween.
After Halloween. We'll see what the moon's looking like. And we're talking about Halloween Havoc 2000, so maybe this is all on us.
Yeah, maybe we cursed this episode.
It's a possibility. So before we get into the actual show, and again, we could probably talk longer about this at some point, but this is just a perspective of how quickly things went downhill for Halloween Havoc. So in this show, it only had 60,000 pay-per-view buys. It did have a live crowd of 7,582. It's hard to say how many weren't papered. And it had a $212,000 live gate. Now, this is just 1 year prior, 99, which late 99 WCW wasn't good at all either. But this is 1 year prior. They had 190,000 buys. So you went from 190,000 buys to 600,000 or 60,000.
Yeah.
You only had 30% of your fan base interested in buying a pay-per-view 1 year later.
That's insane, dude.
And if you want to hear something seem crazier, 98, where they were rolling still in 98, made some questionable decisions here, but this is peak Goldberg and everything.
Yeah.
They had 310,000 buys. So 310 to 190, so you lose 120,000 people in a year. But 190,000 buys, that's more. This AEW, I think, commonly gets about 100,000. I know it's a different era now with there's pirating and it's just a different era altogether.
Yeah.
But 310,000 to 190,000 down to 60,000. So 250,000 buys, people buying pay-per-views were gone in 2 years.
That's insane. Dude.
And I'll tell you, you want to know where they went? I'll tell you where they went.
WWE.
They went over to WWF because they ran No Mercy 2000.
Cool.
Now this show was it's a damn good show. Now 2000 WWF is kind of peak, it's Attitude Era peak.
Yeah.
So this is highlighted by Rock versus Kurt Angle for the title. Austin was coming back from his neck injury and he was taking on Rikishi. Okay. There's a hidden Triple H versus Chris Benoit kind of gem of a match on this show. But we mentioned, so peak WCW did 310,000 down to 60,000. This show, No Mercy 2000, 550,000 buys. Mind you, this isn't one of their big 4 or 5 pay-per-views.
No,
this wasn't SummerSlam, it wasn't WrestleMania, it wasn't Royal Rumble.
But back then, that's like 1 million.
And I mean, it's huge numbers. And when you figure most of us probably weren't allowed to get one pay-per-view a month, and if we did, you had to choose one. You were going to get 2. You're not going to get so.
Shit.
You're choosing, and the choice was obvious here in October of 2000.
I mean, I chose WWF in that year, probably.
I think you had to.
Well,
now that being said,
I didn't watch any of this stuff.
That being said, kind of going back, I've never seen the show before, and so I'm thinking like, I flipped maybe a little bit to Nitro, realized it was pretty bad, and you get to Raw, and it was tough to go back. So that being said, I'm like, maybe there's something we missed. And if you there's a great book called the Nitro Book by Guy Evans that has in-depth reasons on why WCW crashed. And mostly it was because AOL Time Warner merged and they didn't want wrestling on their programs anymore. Because the funny thing is as bad as the ratings were, it was still way better than anything else they had on TV. They just didn't want wrestling. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe there was some decent stuff in here. There's some young guys. Maybe they're working hard. Maybe there's some good stuff in here.
Yeah.
Maybe, the product wasn't as good as it used to be, but maybe it was better than we remembered. And spoiler alert, it wasn't.
No, not at all. There's people I never heard of in here. Like the whole first half of it are all people I never really heard of.
And I think that was
I mean, I knew like once I didn't know their names, but once I saw them, I was like, oh, that's actually this guy in the future. This guy,
Yeah, and I think we talked about this before, and I know it was an episode we're talking about NXT guys where they're bringing them all up at the same time, and I mentioned how it's a bad idea. It's great to get new talent. You got to keep your talent fresh, but if you throw all the new talent at once, it's like, wait a minute, I gotta learn all these guys.
Yeah,
I gotta, no, give me one or two, or or a feud or something where, okay, it's this is interesting. I like this guy. I want to see more of him because I'll tell you, like, when we only talk about the opening match, Jindrak and then Sean O'Haire. Like, you look at Sean O'Haire and you go, we might have something here. Yeah. This is a guy I could be interested in. Like, but he's with a new partner. He's with They were against established guys, but then when you're with a whole bunch of other guys that are pretty much no names. Yeah. Well, it's just another no name. This no name looks a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we want to just dive into the first match since we started anyway.
We'll jump in. I'll even say one of the first notes I got before the match. I said the logo for the show sucks. Looks like a J.C. Penney's catalog or some shit. Like it was a terrible logo.
I feel like this whole event was kind of built around selling the game that they were advertising the whole time.
The Backstage Assault,
which was
a terrible game, by the way.
Was it?
Oh,
yeah,
God, yeah.
I didn't even know it existed until I watched this. So
Here's interesting fun. So you might think though, it was the EA Sports made the game, so you might be thinking like, man, how is this shitty company landing EA Sports, who's always the biggest sporting game developer? They have Madden and NBA
were they
Live.
then?
Yeah, they were then.
Really?
But the thing is, and I've learned this from Eric Bischoff's podcast, which, by the way, shout out to Eric Bischoff. I had about a nice 5-minute conversation with him the other day.
I'd like to hear that story, actually.
Well, yeah. That could be a little sidebar, but yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to Eric Bischoff
Bonus
out there.
clip or something.
Here's what I said. It just mentions how long those things take to get noticed. So, yeah, they were huge in 96, but a lot of times things like that take like 2 years to really be get rolling and then be presented to the public. So that would say like, hey, we would be awesome in 94 for you to get a game in 96, which didn't happen.
Yeah.
But in 96, 97, they're hot and people want to talk to them. People want to do business with them. So really by the time that they got the deal together, they were working on the deal. They were hot. By the time it got together and they released video games, the company was almost done.
Yeah.
ECW had a couple not very good games from Acclaim.
I didn't play any of them, but I saw them around.
So same thing right before they went out of business. So, but you are right. It did feel like, which is nothing wrong with advertising your own product within. I mean, that's what you should do. But it did feel like half of the pay-per-view was a commercial.
They threw commercials in there for it, and like even one match I felt like was totally to sell the game.
Yeah.
But it was on the ring match.
Yeah.
Which I noticed like WWF or E never put anything on their ring match. WCW always put things on the ring match. They
branded a little better. Yeah, the canvases and then even like, we used to the mats like at ringside, like Nitro used to have the flames and stuff.
Yeah.
I think Vince maybe has that little bit of old school in him where like, well, the ring is sacred.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I wondered if there was a reasoning behind that. Like WWF has.
I remember like maybe WrestleMania 12, Shawn and Brett, they had like the WrestleMania across the canvas. That's just the name of the show. That's not marketing or selling, which.
Yeah, but even that is odd for them.
That's a little odd for them.
They don't even do that now.
UFC, of course, like has tons of sponsors all over their canvas, but that's just easy.
But you
money.
think WWE would at least put like a big like the WW logo in the middle or something? Like, I don't know. You think they would utilize?
It would probably
on
look kind of cool. I've wrestled in some. I even think we're in wrestling rings and they have custom designs on the canvas. I'm like, well, this is cool.
Yeah, they're the biggest company in the world. You think they'd be doing some crazy shit with it?
They keep it pretty standard, which is interesting. You're correct.
I always enjoyed the black mats. Like when NXT had the black, was it black or maybe it was gray or something?
Yeah.
I always enjoyed those anyway. Yeah. Just a little sidebar, I guess.
Well, when it sucks is wrestling on those when you're outdoors on an outdoor show. And you got black. Sometimes a black vinyl canvas.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
You get your ass right off of there. Yeah.
Don't have that shit.
So man, you got some notes. You got as always. You're a great note taker, and I'll let you take the lead. Hit me with that 3-way dance tag team titles to open it up.
This was the opening match, the 3-way dance tag title match. It was Mark Jindrak and Sean O'Haire versus Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio. Maskless Rey Mysterio.
Yes, yeah.
Which was a very short-lived thing, I guess. He
lost to Kevin Nash, I think, the prior year, and then by the time he got signed by the WWF, they correctly said, like, well, no, we're going to put the mask back on because we're going to sell a shit ton of those to kids.
Yeah.
As without the mask, he looks like just a tiny little Mexican, almost like a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still awesome.
He looked young, like super young, baby
That's
face.
not very marketable. With the mask, he looks like a superhero. So it makes a lot of sense.
But and then the last team versus what I wrote down was Right Said Fred and Disco Inferno. If anybody knows who Right Said Fred
Alex
is.
Wright. It was Alex.
That's
it was Alex Wright who was,
but he was basically Right Said Fred.
Yeah. Shaved head and doing the Alex Wright.
I'm too sexy. Yeah.
What'd you think of the match?
Well, my notes I wrote down is what the fuck is going on. I didn't understand. Like it was crazy. Just a heads up to everybody. I watched this a week ago, so it's all a little fuzzy to me at this point. But I tried to catch up on it just before. I thought this was also the first match, so I felt like it got a little bit better there in the middle.
Yeah.
Like they kind of started to get together, and it started to make sense, everything that was going on. But then it got bad again.
It got discombobulated by the end.
Yeah, stupid finish.
I'm going to tell you
my
what,
last
though.
note.
I actually, again, maybe it was just blind optimism. Maybe it was me in my old age just softening up. But I went into this and I go, this match was pretty good. I thought
I expected to like it more than I would because I really enjoy Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I wrote down here as well. Disco and Alex, I thought actually both looked good. They were they role.
Yeah.
Kim and Mysterio were always good. Jindrak and O'Haire, they were definitely behind, and you could see why. I mean, they were big. Especially Jindrak, good-looking guy. O'Haire definitely had like a presence about him.
Yeah.
But they were big, jacked-up dudes that could move. Jindrak always seemed to have a little bit, kind of two left feet about him. Yeah. O'Haire, would later be in the WWE, and it's very surprising more didn't happen with him. It was just lack of connection with the crowd or what have you. But in here, with guys willing to bump around for him, and they were willing to bump around, yeah, I actually thought it was pretty good until, the finish was discombobulated.
Yeah.
It bound to happen.
It went off the rails. Like in the beginning, middle was all right, and then at the end, went off the rails again.
Yeah. In a match like, I don't know. In a match like this, you'd hope with Kim and Mysterio in there, and even at that point, Disco and Alex Wright had a few years under the belt.
Yeah.
We kind of keep it together, and the action was fast-paced. It was moving along really well.
I think that's probably where it kind of got real confusing in the beginning. Like it was almost moving too fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And they didn't have any... This was typical WCW at the time. Russo's still in charge at this point, so whether or not they even knew what the rules were or stipulations were was one thing, but then if the announcers were communicated with to explain that to us, the fans, probably not.
Yeah.
And you'd have a lot of this. I got one side note on here that I want to comment on. The commentary, Mark Madden was entertaining the entire time.
Which one's more? Was he the big guy?
The big guy.
In the Hawaiian
Yes.
shirt? That guy was making Kevin Smith references all night.
And
I even wrote him down every time I heard
there
him.
you go. And what I liked in this match was, he felt like a troll before trolling was a thing, because he kept putting over Jindrak and O'Haire by saying, just like the Midnight Express, just like Hawk and Animal, like they're so unpaid, just like the Steiners. I think he even said like Stevens and Patterson, like these guys are flowing like Stevens and Patterson out there. Like it's so over the top on how much he was praising those guys, where it's like, it's fucking entertaining. Like in this case, them being heels, where he was trying to guess to be genuine. But it'd be even funnier if he did it to a babyface team that he didn't like as a troll. Like, oh look, these guys are so good. Oh, they're the next Hawk and Animal. Look at them go. Like, I thought it was hilarious on a show that didn't have a lot to keep me truly entertained, except for the bad entertainment. Mark Madden was on point.
No, I enjoyed the commentary quite a bit actually. I'm pretty sure I can't quite remember. I didn't look through them, but I'm pretty sure I have quite a few little notes.
Well, feel free to throw in any of the references you caught along the way. I just, I didn't write them all down, but because I was trying to pick out the match. But just as I'm watching, and typing some notes, I'd be like, man, it was great.
Because I mean, if I'm honest, this was quite a grind of a watch for me. This is almost 3 hours of just a shit show, pretty much.
Yeah.
It had its moments, but it was a shit show.
This is one of the best matches of the night, Sally. Even though I see you got not a great rating, I would imagine this is probably top 3 matches of the night for you. There wasn't much great coming up.
Yeah, it was probably up there. I couldn't tell you right now, but I did try to do my ABCD ranking, but it was all so bad that
I'll
I
tell
just
you what,
stopped
going
after the first one.
forward, whatever you can remember as you look back, give the fans what you got. So what
All
do you
right.
got for
I
this
gave
one?
this one a D.
Okay. And if you
But-
get to F and F minuses, and we can go F minus later, because some are going to earn it. So,
All right, okay.
and I'll tell you one that probably is going to earn it right here is the next bout. He had a hardcore title match. And now, mind you, this is 2000, and WCW was probably last to get in on the action. ECW really did the extreme, and then WWF did the hardcore title, and it started with Foley, and then even Big Boss, man, were kind of taking it seriously, and then they got silly with it, but at least it was kind of fun. This wasn't either. This wasn't good. This wasn't very extreme.
No,
This wasn't very fun.
I didn't know either one of the people.
It was Reno versus Sergeant Awol, who is also known as the Wall. His name was
That makes sense.
his name was Malice in TNA, where he was signed, and he actually passed away really, really young. I think it was 2003, 2004, so not long after this. I'll take the lead on this one, I guess. Neither guy was over. That's one of the things you notice right away. Like, even that the opening tag match, the crowd knew Kidman and Mysterio were behind them, and the crowd knew Disco Inferno quite a bit, and were at least participating in his stuff. So you got guys that were over in that match. These guys just, man, the crowd didn't care, and my God, did it go too long or what? You figure, give me 5-6 minutes of these two guys hitting each other with crap and give me a finish, and I'd go, well, it wasn't great, but it wasn't offensive. This is kind of offensive. It just took forever. Beating just dudes walking around the arena, hitting each other with shit, and nobody cared the entire time.
No, this is the match I thought was basically just a long commercial for the video game.
Yeah.
The video game's called Backstage Assault. This whole match was a backstage assault.
Bro. Which I wouldn't even be upset with if it was with wrestlers that were over and with the action was entertaining. I'd be like, hey, you're trying to tie it in to get me entertained. That's fine. But you're right. They probably told these guys, make sure you go backstage, make sure you use some stuff, and nobody cared the entire time.
Yeah. No. Even I didn't care. Like, a lot of matches throughout this, I really had to fight myself to not be on my phone. Like, I was like, shit, I'm on my phone again. And I'd literally roll it back and watch it again.
Well, you didn't feel like you were missing anything.
No, it just, I was so bored. I was subconsciously did it. I didn't even realize I was doing it. But the first thing I wrote down is, Reno, you might not even get this one, but Reno left his cowboy friend back at the cupboard for this one.
Oh, little Indian in the cupboard?
He looks like the Indian in the cupboard. His hair, everything. That's the first thing I thought when I saw him. Reno left
No, I read Indian in the Cupboard as a kid. I don't know if I watched the movie.
I saw the movie. I didn't read the book.
I had to read the book, and I was good on it. It wasn't very good either.
No. I mean, as a kid, everything's all right. But I said I don't know either guy in the match at all, but it's a hardcore match. Clearly a fake computer monitor and fake laptop.
Oh, when they hit it, in the back.
It was ridiculous. This seems like it was designed to sell the video game. It was not good.
No.
Not good at all.
No, it took me already out of the match. If you had to, you got a little AHW reference in there?
I just saw that and started laughing. AHW matches were better.
Maybe the ones without Stiss. But
shout out to Stiss.
That's a deep cut.
Nate Metz, if you're seeing this.
Snake from under rocks. You know what's strange is I felt like I missed something. Like, I felt like if we ever did the ring announcing for him, we should have done, hailing from under rocks, we have Snake, and throw the Metal Gear Solid reference on him too. And that would have been the most entertaining thing about his matches. So, I would have, I would pay $0 to see a Reno versus Snake match.
Yeah.
In AHW.
Well, I would have also paid $0 to pay or to see Reno versus Sergeant Awol.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we at least for me, I think I'm in $5 for the monthly subscription, and I feel like they kind of owe me. They owe me that back.
Well, fucking take that, Peacock.
Goddamn. So go ahead. So then, like you said, it was boring. Kind of took me out of it. That led into the next match. It kind of segued right into the next match. You had the perfect event.
Yeah, like which
Palumbo.
They did this a couple times.
Yeah, they were stablemates in the stable called the Natural Born Thrillers, where they wanted to have the young guys kind of be in the stable together.
It was like a big circle of matches.
So there was Sean Stasiak, who was meat in the WWF, and Chuck Palumbo. And now again, look at these two guys with, especially even with Stasiak, where you're like, This guy looks like a star. Looks like a
Stasiak,
wrestler.
yeah.
Looks like a star. Palumbo definitely looked like a star.
I've always liked Palumbo, but
Yeah.
I've always thought he looked so dumb and played so dumb. Like I wrote, Palumbo looks like he thinks the Earth is flat. That's what I wrote. Because he just looks so goofy.
Would sail on a boat to go find out. Well, they wrestled two members of the Misfits in action, which again,
Corporal Cajun and Lieutenant Loco.
Lieutenant Loco was Chavo Guerrero, and Corporal Cajun was Lash LaRue.
Okay,
who was a little bit of favorite of mine. Like that, Lash LaRue was around the year before, where he'd always first of all, he looked like Dave Titus from the Titus TV show. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, the red-haired dude.
Yeah. So it kind of looked like him, but
I thought he looked. I don't know if you know him, but I thought he looked like fat Johnny Craig.
No, I was not familiar with that one.
No, he was the original singer of Dance Gavin Dance. Anybody that knows it would laugh. But yeah.
So, but yeah, and he was kind of a chubby redheaded guy, but he was always really competitive in matches against some of the top cruiserweights. He didn't win much.
Yeah.
But I was like, this Lash LaRue ain't bad. Like you said, man, that last match kind of took you out of it. Now you got four more guys who really aren't stars. I've never been a Chavo Guerrero fan.
Yeah.
It's always been whatever for me. And I found myself thinking, like, did they miss something in Stasiak and Palumbo? Because these guys look good. They looked the part. They worked hard. There was nothing bad about the match, but it wasn't really good either.
They were kind of always like mid-card players, and they were mid-card players here. Stasiak I remember more as Meat. Chuck Palumbo I remember more from the Invasion and everything.
And then he did Billy and Chuck.
The whole gate. That's probably what he's most known for, I think.
Almost certainly, yeah.
But I've never really liked... Stasiak was good, but like he was just a meathead.
Sure.
And... I mean, I like Palumbo. I thought was funny, but he was just like a goofy, silly.
No, I thought they did. I think they were teasing dissension a little bit throughout the match, and I did like the style that they worked with the two other guys being a little bit smaller, and they kind of played the bullies a little bit, made the comebacks make sense. Like nothing offensive about the match, but boy, you gave me now 6 guys in a row, guys that really just aren't over. They're not a lot of personality.
The whole first like half of this felt like just bottom tier dudes, really. Yeah. But some weird things did happen. Stasiak gets pinned, has the rope, but he lets go.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
I don't know if they're trying to tell a story there or not.
Guerrero has chubby toes. Is probably the most memorable thing about this match so far, which I think was your boy who said that.
Mark Madden with his chubby toes. I missed that call.
Yes, I think somebody said it because I remember. I heard it and remembered enough to write it down. And the commentators blew the ending spot.
I mean, it looked like nobody knew what was going on there at the end.
Yeah.
Again, so you got a match where, I mean, again, I'll give the credit. The guys worked hard. It wasn't like they're half-assing it out there or anything.
Yeah.
But the finish didn't seem to make sense, and the announcers didn't seem like it made sense to them. And with all that, so now and the baby faces were over. So, sometimes people, I think, try to be too cute. If you got the baby faces over and the heel versus the heels on a pay-per-view, have them hit a finish 1, 2, 3 and let the crowd pop.
Yeah.
You don't need to overthink it sometimes.
No, for sure.
It felt like everything. They were overthinking everything on it. This wouldn't be the last bad finish of the night.
No, it would not. But yeah, that's all I really had for that one. Nothing to write home about either on this one, which was I'm going to say about most of these matches tonight, if not all of them.
No. Well, yeah, I'll tell you, here's going to be the high mark of the show, at least for Mark. This is the best part of the show is coming up next.
Oh, absolutely.
Go on ahead.
This is the top 2 moments of the show for me. Possibly match of the night purely for one reason, and that is Conan and Tigress versus Shane Douglas and Torrie Wilson. So it's a mixed tag match, but I'm sure if you've been listening to the podcast this long, you can guess why this was my favorite match of the night. Torrie Wilson dressed as Wonder Woman. Before it was cool to dress as Wonder Woman, by the way.
I don't know what's cool or what isn't cool, but I know Torrie Wilson in about anything in this era or today is something that I don't mind being on my TV.
Yep. It's almost like she gets better with the age.
My Lanza looking good in that Wonder Woman costume, which I guess we do this podcast for me to share some of my own side stories. So
go for it.
My buddy, I guess we haven't seen each other for a long time, but there's a wrestler by the name of Scotty Steiner, who was from, I believe, Uricksville, Ohio. So not far from here. And not at all far from Pittsburgh. It's probably like an hour west of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And him and Shane knew each other from that. They were both, he would call himself friends with Shane Douglas. So in this era, they were doing a lot of syndicated shows like WCW Worldwide and WCW Pro, stuff that wasn't Nitro and Thunder. And they would a lot of times need local guys to do it. And Shane would usually ask if he could bring Scotty along, because Scotty's usually a really good worker.
Okay.
And then he was actually, his name was Scotty O, and he was in, well, let me try to pull it up. He was in some of the very last, like 2001 WCW episodes as in like a cruiserweight tag team. But so Shane would bring him in to, do job matches, but get a nice little competitive match out of it. And Scotty told me one time, he goes, so I'm working with Shane. We're doing kind of up and down the road. And I would say, hey, you think we could do a little something with Torrie tonight? so we'd always do the spot where he'd have Shane bump, Torrie get on the apron, go to slap him, catch it. Hey, pulls her in, plants one on her. Woo,
oh, Jesus.
Turn around, eat the finish, and go home. And it's like, you son of a bitch.
That'd be the highlight of my life, dude.
At the same time, if I'm in his shoes, it's exactly what I would do, too.
Yeah, it
is.
It's
exactly what I would do, too. Anything you want to do out there, Shane, will make you look good, of course. And you might get a little spot in there with Torrie.
Yeah, exactly.
One spot in there with Torrie.
For sure.
So, Scotty O, Scotty Saber, been a long time, buddy. Hope we catch up sometime.
He's a legend.
Great wrestler too. We wrestled each other probably a dozen times in the early 2000s, like 2004 or so. And great dude and a great mind for the business, if you know what I mean.
Apparently.
So there, little side story for Torrie.
I like it. No, first notice, Torrie looking fan-fucking-tastic as Wonder Woman. Possibly the best part of the show. The commentators laugh at how bad Tigress and Torrie are.
Well, they
chuckling
have no idea how to wrestle.
Yeah, they were the worst.
They have no idea how to wrestle. It wasn't fair to them at all to be out there in a wrestling match. They have no idea how to wrestle. Well, they tried to tell a story earlier in the night of Conan being out with Mysterio and Kidman and got jumped by Pullamoto O'Hare and Jindrak and all those guys. So where he got jumped and got laid out, but it really didn't, he got stomped on in the ring a little bit, so it wasn't even that badly laid out. And they tried to kind of tell it as, it was franchise's plan all along. So it starts off 2-on-1, franchise and Torrie Wilson against Tigress, and again, neither lady knows how to wrestle.
Yeah.
Conan comes back out to the ring. He sold his injuries for maybe 10 seconds, and then it was just a regular match.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
I next note goes right along with that. I said nothing about this is believable.
No, nothing at all.
I also wrote down Little Nature Boy won the match.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Robinson?
Charles Robinson?
Robinson, yeah. He won the match with the Torrie spot of the night. But it was just awful. Looking at Torrie was the only reason to watch, really, is what I wrote down.
Yeah. So I got, the franchise I actually put, and this is just for the next, punchline of it, but franchise looking good. Franchise, would kind of go up and down, in weight and everything, but I thought he looked good here. Looked like a star.
Looked like he was in his prime.
And then I put Torrie Wilson looking really good.
Absolutely.
And then Russo didn't care about the wrestling. He wanted the characters out there. He had no interest, of a good wrestling match. You could tell, because Tigress and Wilson both looked good out there. They both had natural charisma for what their roles that they were doing.
Yeah.
But there's no wrestling ability, and it didn't matter to what Russo was presenting, which almost could be fine if they kept the match down. I said, tag Conan while he was already in the ring.
I saw that.
Yeah. And I said, none of this matters, going way too long. You can tell these poor girls have no idea what they're doing. Now, I felt like Douglas go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but yes, they looked like they had no idea what they were doing, but they were also the only two that looked like they gave a shit about what they were doing.
That's what I was going to say. Conan and Douglas being veterans, you could tell, probably in their heads, they're like, what the fuck can we do with these girls
they
to
really,
make it, what can we do to try to keep it entertaining?
They knew it was going to be
without
bad.
Being able to wrestle. And I felt like what they put together, of Tigress finally, getting a low blow on Douglas, and Douglas selling and hot tag to Conan. I felt like on paper, they probably put it together as best as they could, but it went way too long, and it was involving girls. Poor Torrie by the end of the finish, just looked like she had no idea what was going on, because she probably didn't.
Yeah.
Conan got the pin, got a decent pop, so I will say at least the characters involved were over with the crowd.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I wouldn't go all the way to an F. It would be hovering in that D to D minus, because the action was not good at all.
I would imagine in the moment too, at the time, if we were there in 2000, it might have been a little better, because we might have been a little more invested in it or something,
right.
But
might have been cheering just because it was over.
Does not have the only replay value it has is
Torrie Wilson,
nice view.
Wonder Woman, and there's tons of replay value involved there.
Yeah. And then after this, I don't even remember what the promos were, but they must have been bad because all I wrote down was terrible promos.
I wrote down a couple promo notes and nothing here. I didn't write anything in here, so I don't remember what it was. I know I had Chronic promo in here, which is really bad, but I don't remember who was at this spot in time.
Yeah.
But I do remember the next match, which, bless your heart, you wrote it down as a first blood match. That's not what they were calling it.
The DNA first blood match is what I wrote down. I added DNA later. I was
DNA
like,
match
DNA?
as one of these two men are, Stacy Keibler's baby's father, which I wrote down. If you had if either had the opportunity to be a candidate, you're already a winner in my book.
Absolutely. Stacy Keibler is, her and Torrie are kind of like neck and neck for greatest of all time, maybe. When it comes to women, not wrestlers, but just like hottest women of all time in wrestling.
Yeah.
But,
I wanted to say one good thing about the match. Again, our boy Mark Madden comparing the match to Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard.
Jesus.
Because at that point, I think that's him just trolling. It has to be. Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard had one of the most famous First Blood, I Quit matches that you've ever seen. And he's like, this is as great as Magnum and Tully. And I'm like, oh fuck, he's awesome. Because it wasn't good.
I would imagine. I've never seen it, but I
Buff
got
Bagwell, David Flair.
Yeah.
DNA. Buff was over. Buff was over with the crowd.
Was he?
Buff looked good. They were popping for him.
Oh, they were, but I just didn't know how over he was.
Yeah,
at the
Buff
time.
was fairly over. Poor David Flair just looked like he didn't know what he was doing.
He looked about how I remembered him too, just kind of always
Awkward,
flustered and flushed.
Took a good ass kicking.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say that about him.
He wanted to be Shane, kind of, is the way I felt.
What I've always heard is that he didn't really want to do it all that much at all. And then as he was in training, he most definitely got pulled out of training way too early.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to hotshot an angle because he's Ric Flair's son.
He really didn't do too much actual wrestling. It was just all... It
was all Buff kind of beating
stuff.
The shit out of him.
Yeah. Taking a beating.
And Buff technically gets the win. Makes him bleed. I think he hit him with a chair or ran him in the post. I don't even remember.
Lex Luger running.
Lex Luger running in to...
I don't know if that was I can't remember if that was the finish or not, but I had that written down is what I looked at.
And then, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all, folks. Lex Luger running in. We have Buff getting the win. Where then after the match, David Flair attacks Buff. Runs him in the pose where Buff does not get color. He does clearly fake blood in the mouth.
Yeah.
Where David now gets a blood sample. And I said they're trying to collect blood, but all they needed was saliva, hair, whatever. Not enough for me to even care.
No.
To think about.
Yeah, the most memorable part for me was there was a Snoochie Boochies from the commentator after the DNA sample.
There you go.
So that's the first Kevin Smith reference I remember in the show.
You got something out of it.
Buff Bagwell isn't funny. I wrote that down. Obvious cut job from David Flair.
Yeah, one of them rolls under the ring, comes out with a very bad cut blade job.
But that's pretty much it. And I wrote down the Lex Luger run in. It was not good.
No.
You could see
turn on Buff, but I guess they were they were partners a couple months later, I remember, sadly. So none of it mattered.
No.
That's I think what I've wrote it down on here and we keep none of this mattered.
No, none of it really matters to me at all anyway, because I was never a WCW guy, so I don't remember any of this.
Well, when I
whatsoever.
say that, it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter to us watching as
it had no relevance to anything.
Where does the story go? Am I interested watching it back? Something I don't remember watching. If it would interest me now, it definitely would have interested the crowd then that either dropped $30 on the pay-per-view or bought a live ticket.
Yeah.
And there wasn't. There's just you're not interested in what's happening here. The stories suck. The characters suck. Most of the guys aren't wrestling that hard. It's just bad.
Yeah. You could tell they were dying. You could definitely tell WCW was dying right here. And they were throwing this together. It's as best they could, probably. But yeah.
But you know what wasn't dying? You know what's not going to die is the big bad booty daddy, because he's up next with a promo. Scotty Steiner, I wrote down, everything negative about this show is gone. We're back to the 10-star show.
For a brief moment, it was 10 stars. For a brief moment,
Scott Steiner, in all of his lunacy, brings the show back up, refills the health bar. We're back to 10 stars. And the girl interviewing, Pamela Paulshock, looking great.
I don't remember. I'm sure she did. I can't believe this must have been one of those moments where I failed and looked at my phone or something.
Watch it back for Scott Steiner promo.
I remember the promo, but I don't remember
Paul
the
Shock
girl.
looking good. We're back. We're up to 11 stars at this show, and I'm back.
11 stars.
Oh yeah, I'm back. It's gonna lose. Spoiler alert. It's gonna lose them really fast, Kitty.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah. Because next, go ahead.
Next is, oh shit. Did I skip a match here?
No, we talked the first blood match.
Oh, Mike Sanders versus the Cat is
yes.
what I have next. Yeah, okay, I see what you're doing here.
Above average, top of the B list, Mike Sanders. That was his gimmick.
This was WCW Commissioner 3-round kickboxing match.
Because why not?
Yeah, makes no sense
Because
to
why
me.
not at this point? So yeah, for the commissionership of WCW on the line between these two bozos.
First note I wrote down was very, very clearly bullshit.
Yeah.
Mike Sanders looks like stupid Randy Orton.
That's fair.
He looks like dumb Randy Orton.
Man, Mike Sanders, I thought would have been a pretty good manager. I really do, like, because he had his promo. I like kind of the old school promo, just cutting on the crowd.
I can't remember. Did he have kind of an
southern accent? Yeah. Y'all are too stupid.
That's probably what made him sound stupid to me. Not that people with southern accents do, but it can come off.
No, but it felt like kind of that Memphis, like sort of old school Tennessee style wrestling, like where I'm like, if he doesn't get physical because he doesn't look physically imposing at all, like, hey, maybe we got a little something with the guy. Yeah. I got a note there. Ian Gallagher from Shameless was your referee.
Yeah, I said ref is old Ian Gallagher from Shameless. That's what he looked like.
There we go.
That's what he looked like.
We got the same note. Yeah.
Oh, did you actually put that down?
No, I wrote it down. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Ian Gallagher from Shameless is the referee.
I thought you read mine, and I was like, oh, he saw that. But no, that's crazy. Dude.
Yeah.
That's what he looked like.
Ian Gallagher out there refereeing, and once I paid attention to that, the match became more entertaining to me.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
So they had Cat kind of just poking and peppering him and messing. Because Cat, I guess, legitimately was a world-class kickboxer. Yeah. That's how he got his job, I guess.
No, they were selling that, too.
Bischoff were friends. And the Cat, if you ever go back and watch 2000's Cat, some of it's laughably bad, but the guy was very entertaining on the mic. Like there's a real charisma about him. Yeah. If you watched The Wrestler, he actually played the Ayatollah at the end.
Did he?
Randy the Ram's opponent. Yeah.
I need to watch that again. I haven't seen that in a while.
Ernest the Cat Miller. So the Cat had a lot of charisma. I actually thought Sanders had a lot of charisma. Neither one was going to wow you in a wrestling match, and then it was honestly even worse in this faux kickboxing match.
Yeah, I my last note there after the Shameless thing was this is just stupid. No one in the crowd gives a shit.
Not at all. I said the thrill is distract Ian in the franchise. It's the Cat with a chain.
That's right.
Where he beats the 10 count, but then he brawls outside with the franchise and somehow gets counted out of the ring in a kickboxing match, and Mike Sanders wins. Yeah. Again, so we talked earlier, it's not going to be the last bad finish, and this one was bad segment, bad match, quote unquote match, and just bad finish.
I think I wrote this down somewhere. I can't remember what it was, but I felt like a lot of these matches just didn't have rules. Like they're
which maybe they're trying to borrow from ECW, but ECW made it fun.
I didn't know if that was like something that has to do with Halloween Havoc. It's like, every match is real lenient or something.
No, it's just it's never Russo called booking it of no one cares, bro. Nobody cares about Russo, the rules, right. Bro.
See, I should have remembered that.
That's all. No, it didn't have to make sense to Russo. No, Russo would throw shit out there on paper and again overthink it, try to be too cute. And then, we'll have this guy run in. Well, why isn't it DQ? Nobody cares about DQs, bro.
But they do. They clearly do.
No, and if you're going to cheat, you got to make it count, which in this case they tried to. They snuck the chain in for him to punch him. Yeah. But then he got counted out of the ring in a random fight with the franchise. Yeah. I don't get it.
No, this whole thing made no sense to me.
Man, I thought the next match was going to... Well, first of all, we get a chronic promo. All I could write down was, it's not good. Not in a fun way either. No, at least, the Scotty Steiner promos were so over-the-top ridiculous where, it was entertaining.
It's hard to follow.
Chronic was Brian Adams and Brian Clark, better known as Crush and Atom Bomb. They're paired together. Couple big 6 foot, almost 7 foot dudes. 6'8", 6'9" dudes. Look the part. But man, they just cut a promo talking shit about Goldberg, and it was bad. Yeah. But
aside from Scott Steiner, every promo tonight was not good.
No, Not good. Which again, if you're not going to focus on the wrestling, you should at least focus on the promos and make them count. And they were not good.
Even like all the little graphics and little videos in between were like cheesy and just bad.
Just bad. They're way too bad for 2000 standards.
For sure. They all look like video game bullshit in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't know if it was lack of a budget, or if they're just half-assing or what, but it was all bad.
Yeah. But next match is Mike Awesome versus Vampiro, which is a very different Mike Awesome from ECW Heatwave 98. Episode 27 out now, everybody.
Mike Awesome looked awesome.
Same ring gear, though.
Well, now he's dressed up as that 70s guy.
Yeah, but he had the same ring gear he was wearing in Heatwave, or it looked just like it.
Yeah, but you're right. This was not nowhere close to that level
Very
of
different
a match. How familiar are you with Vampiro?
I know a bit about Vampiro. I remember he had a feud with Sting.
Sting, yeah.
And
that was only earlier in 2000 where he was much better even then, just a few months prior. I thought coming out of this match, I go, okay, here all the undercard, all the crap was there. Now we got some bigger characters. Mm-hmm. You know, Mike Awesome, even the 70s guy was a pretty dumb gimmick.
Yeah.
But he looks the part.
Yeah.
Vampiro and his entrance sure as shit looked the part. We're like, okay, we got some stars.
Yeah, Vampiro I always thought was cool.
Yeah.
And he wasn't bad in the ring, but he looked cool.
He looked cool. And normally he wasn't bad in the ring. This was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Well, this was really, really bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead with what you got.
I wrote down very different Mike Awesome. Vampiro takes out a security lady.
Yeah.
I remember when they threw him into the crowd. He just kind of got thrown into a security lady. Yeah. And she takes like a bit of a tumble, I think.
Yeah. Could use that security lady here because the fan's about to jump in.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Fight goes into the crowd. Fan jumps in and headbutts Awesome. Gets his ass.
Gets the shit beat out of him.
Gets his fucking ass beat, dude.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably the best part of the match. I said Vampa attacks him with Mr. Fuji's cane, but we also got more crowd brawling, which we had the crappy hardcore match earlier.
Yeah, but it was just
Buff and David Flair doing whatever the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
So you're already kind of tired out of it, and not one of it was good. This wasn't any better.
No, I wrote down, did they have any plan at all for this match? Because they were literally just kind of walking around doing stuff.
No, it wasn't good at all.
As if it was just all on the spot.
Crowd brawling. I said Stevie Ray on commentary is not good at all, but at least kind of entertaining. I like the commentary. I'm trying to be positive here. So we got chairs involved. There's a bad Van Daminator where he throws the chair, tries to kick it in his face.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said we already had a hardcore match. These guys are more over characters, but still, it's overkill and it's not great. Vampiro, I have wrote down here, looks like a star. He's definitely had better matches. I remember being a fan of his, but he looks terrible in this match. He looks like he was either blown up, lazy, maybe high, which sounds terrible to sounds terrible to comment, but he's been open about having substance issues before, and he just looked like he had no interest in being out there, and was sloppy every which way they go, blown spot off of the top.
The white face paint probably doesn't help his look either. It just automatically makes him look sickly and shit.
Well, at that point, he was actually the lead singer of the Misfits.
Was he?
I know
Misfits, they were involved with this gimmick at one point.
He was lead. Now this is, of course, is a bastardized version of the Misfits.
Yeah, this was the Jerry only Misfits.
By 2000, but he was actually lead singer of the Misfits, so he looked kind of like a rock star, which is
he
fine.
fits the gimmick,
But man, what a bad match!
No, it was not good.
I had Stevie calling out. No one ever said this is hardcore rules. He says it's live, so the commentators don't know.
Yeah, they kind of blew the whole match.
You gotta tell your commentators, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what I want you to get over. I say they, meaning the writers. Tell the people this is what we're doing. They nothing to tell them because they're just doing whatever they want.
No plan at all.
Terribly safe powerbomb on the floor, and. Vampiro can't find what he's looking for under the ring. How many times do I got to put you down?
Yeah. Jesus.
Doesn't bump on a clothesline. A powerbomb off of the top for the finish was a pretty ballsy spot. And then I said Peacock cuts this off immediately after, and they get a star back for them because this might have been the worst match of the night. Yeah. And maybe that's because I had expectations. I actually had a little bit of expectations for it, but this was terrible.
No, it was not good. Yeah.
Anything else to add on that?
I my notes are long done over on that one.
I got detailed notes because it actually had my attention.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, at the very least, this will be entertaining. And boy, this is bad.
No, it was super bad.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Who actually wasn't a bad promo was Hugh Morris, that General Erection. He had a decent little promo.
Worst name ever, but
oh boy, it's bad. Of course, it's General Hugh G.
I was
Erection.
Actually surprised when I finally saw who it was. It didn't sound like it was written by a 10-year-old. But because they kept saying General Erection, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? It's the worst name ever. And then I see Hugh Morris.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I thought
it explained the whole, because I even wrote down earlier, I don't know why I didn't say it, but a lot of military names being thrown out.
Yeah, there were the Misfits of Action. They were all their stable. But yeah, it wasn't a bad promo. And then, but then they showed a replay of the last match with Tony saying out loud on the broadcast, one of the most astounding spots you've ever seen. And I got pissed. And this is Russo bull. Like they know their spots, bro. Like, so that's a directive because nobody's sitting there telling, "Oh my God, what a spot that was!" Like, no, it's a great, impactful maneuver, whatever you want to say, devastating. You don't sit there and say like, "Oh, that was a crazy spot," and tell the fans like,
"Yeah, that's
damn,
breaking the kayfabe for sure."
Yeah, just completely tearing down the fourth wall and waving to everybody at home.
No, I didn't notice that, but you're right. You're definitely right.
I noticed it. I was pissed.
I'm sure you were. You got pissed at heels, which makes sense though. But
I do hate heels. Which I still only watched half the episode. I ain't going back.
No, I haven't watched any more of it myself.
I talked you out of it. No.
There's a throwback for you. If you want to hear that, that's out there too. If you want to hear how we feel about that.
Well, hey, that was a hot take on heels, and you're gonna get one from me at the end of this. So I'm gonna let you take the lead.
All right, cool.
We had Team Canada, Lance Storm, and a heel Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah, Jim Duggan and Lance Storm with Major Guns. The second, I even wrote down, second best part of the show.
There you go.
Versus General Erection, worst name ever, even worse music, which the whole show had piped in music.
They piped in music.
And it's the worst. Do you think WWE did that on purpose to make them look just like clowns?
Well,
to make WCW just look even worse?
No, they had like kind of a rah-rah... Misfits in Action. It wasn't good. You can Google the Misfits in Action actual theme song. It's not much
that was
better.
Their actual song that was playing. I figured
it was. It was piped in, but their actual song wasn't much better.
Okay, but the shit they were playing on this show was piped in music was like the worst. Like it didn't fit anything. Like it was like polka almost. You know what I mean? Like just the worst music ever.
Yeah, it was bad.
Cost them like $1 on iTunes or something.
Almost certainly.
Well, everything costs $1 on iTunes. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, my first note here is I thought it was the best match so far possibly of the night.
Yeah.
USA versus Canada A, which made sense. First part of the night that I was just like, okay.
You at least got some sort of story you can sink your teeth into. It was done 3 years prior in WWF in '97 and way better. Yeah. But at least there's something that you
which I think Lance Storm was involved in too.
No, he wasn't.
Wasn't he?
No, he was not in WWF at the time.
No, I meant, but like when they did the Team Canada thing, I thought he was involved with that shit, wasn't he?
No.
I must be thinking of somebody else.
No, yeah. Team Canada was Bret Hart Foundation, so it was Brett Pillman.
Oh, I'm thinking of a later version of it.
Oh, they had the Un-Americans later.
Okay. Was Lance Storm involved with that?
Regal and Test.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I knew. Lance Storm.
Yeah, so that's the Canada versus USA was done about 3 years prior in the WWF, and it was done far better than this. But
I believe.
But you are correct. At least there was some crowd heat. At least you like a little like, hey, they turned Hacksaw Jim Duggan heel.
Well, and that was what my next note was about. It was like, has Jim Duggan ever been anything else? Like even as a heel, he's still kind of the same guy. He's just doing it for Canada now.
Pretty much.
That's his heel turn. It's just like now I'm doing it for the opposite country.
Yeah. But I wrote down here, even in shitty 2000 wrestling, the fans were pissed that Hacksaw was anti-American. Like,
well, of course, yeah, he was kind of a hometown boy. You know what I mean? For the country.
No, I do have wrote down also that he has a pretty good pile driver in this match. So I'll give Hacksaw a little bit of credit. It's a pile driver and all Hugh and pretty fucking good. So
Them pile drivers kill me every time, dude. I still, to this day, like, they baffle my mind how people don't break their neck.
They make your neck sound like mine, yeah.
I believe it, dude. We got a fat ass fly from the commentary. Another Kevin Smith reference.
Yep, and Madden would call that every time, actually, for Morris, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fat ass fly is the moonsault. He would call it out every time.
Okay, I like it. I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, so that's obviously because I'm noticing all this shit.
That was Mallrats, right? With
Bob
dressed up as Batman, not to jump too far ahead, but Major Guns turns and goes to Team USA. Yes, it just does. You thought this was the best match so far? I'll say it all together.
Well, it wasn't really the best match, but like it was so far it made the most sense.
Yeah,
like it was the one that I could buy the most. You know what I mean?
There's a little bit of steam behind it. I wrote down. Are you ready for a hot take?
Absolutely, I'm always ready.
Hot take. This will be one that we'll be able to clip out and put on its own because it's probably going to piss some people off.
All right.
So this was the only time Lance Storm was ever in his career.
Really?
Ever in his career. You not being an old ECW guy, and then maybe. You were a smart fan a little bit later, but there's a lot of contingents out there who'll sit there and tell you. Evan Wiley will tell you that Lance Storm was the best wrestler ever, like the best in-ring wrestler ever.
Well, I always remember him being a really good wrestler.
Lance Storm fucking sucks.
Yeah.
God, he's the fucking worst.
I enjoy Lance Storm. I didn't give a shit about him that much, but I never thought he was bad.
What makes a good wrestler is to make a good wrestler because you can throw a nice high leg lariat, then Lance Storm's fucking great. But other than that, this guy fucking sucks, man. He's only over in 2000 WCW, which is the worst era of any company's wrestling like ever. It's the only time he was ever over. He did the whole "Can I be serious for a minute" shtick, which best thing he's done. That's it. Looks like a wrestler. Give you that too. Always came in good shape. But I got it wrote down here. He's technically sound and he's smooth. Nothing ever felt real for him. Nothing ever felt real like he was actually in a fight, which is what pro wrestling's supposed to be. If you're a great wrestler, you still should be wrestling. Something should maybe be a little bit of a struggle, or when you're throwing strikes, you should make it at least look like you're trying to hurt the guy. Sometimes the strikes are going to look good, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
You should at least have the aggression on your face if you're trying to hurt the guy. So nothing ever felt real with him. I have wrote down here.
Okay, I can.
Worst chops I've ever seen.
You gotta, okay.
Weak ass punches, no aggression, looks like a tool bag, so it's probably why people don't like him. Hacksaw was better here, getting real heat. He was never a good in-ring worker, but he was always over. Like, Hacksaw was the only one they were even fucking reacting to. They're pissed that he was a heel.
He was the only one, like, working the crowd, too, and
They're pissed that he was a heel. Lance Storm's just in there fucking wrestling smooth and throwing shitty punches. Like, fuck Lance Storm. He's... the life of me, he never had one match, never had one promo that anybody would ever go, oh my God, you got to go back and watch Lance Storm do this. But again, he's even still today in 2021 regarded as like, oh man, he's such a great in-ring worker. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was never like, blowing smoke up his ass or nothing, but like I was fucking... I never hated him. That's how I was saying. I remembered him not being terrible.
I do. He's worse than Christian and Cody.
Way worse. I guess you paid more attention.
Way fucking worse. Because at least those two tool bags, like they look like tool bags, and they probably are tool bags. But
so you hate Lance Storm more than Cody.
I hate him worse. Yeah.
Wow.
Cody.
Jeff Jarrett.
No, I like Jeff Jarrett.
Cody. You just use him as an insult to Cody.
Yeah. Cody, at least is playing the part. At least what he thinks he's doing the stuff right that he should be doing to get a reaction. He just fucking sucks and people don't like him, and it's the wrong reaction. But at least he sells and has the demonstrative, facial emotions of like, I'm in a fight right now, or I'm pissed right now, or I'm concerned right now. At least he has that. Yeah. And at least when it's time to fire back, he's going to come with some punches, that actually look like, hey, I'm supposed to be firing up right now because I'm in a fight.
Yeah.
I just think overall I just don't like him at all. Like, I don't think Cody sucks as much as Lance Storm fucking sucks. Like, that's just everything wrong about pro wrestling. That's a guy that goes to wrestling school, can do all of the transitions, all of the stuff they teach you and how to do it and be safe, and does all that fine, and literally nothing else.
Okay. No, like I said, you probably know better than I, because I wasn't paying attention enough to really like notice all that.
I hope this fires.
I'm sure you're
up
not wrong.
I hope this fires up the internet fanboys.
Me too. Throw all the hate his way, guys.
I'm gonna send this directly to Evan just to get him riled up.
All right.
Yeah, Lance Storm is the fucking worst.
Well, there you have it, people. Lance Storm is just the fucking worst.
Moving on.
Well, then you should be real happy about Major Guns turning on him and going with Team USA.
There you go. Get the fuck out of there. Go film your porn videos with the Americans, Major Guns. Appreciate it.
Bada boom.
First of all, Jeff Jarrett calls Pamela Paulshock a blonde slapnut. So, that got a star again for me. I said, I think we're in the negative 100s at this point.
Okay.
But calling her a blonde slapnut in his promo, hey, I was a fan of that.
He told her not to piss him off.
He tells everybody not to piss him off.
What did I write down here?
So next match, we got...
Whoa, okay. My first note here was it's Sting versus Jeff Jarrett.
Versus old Double J.
Yeah, my first note is Sting, much like Jarrett, is not a fan of Jarrett, but apparently you don't hate Jarrett. I thought you did.
No, I knocked him much. Well, I've listened to his My World podcast, which is excellent. That guy's got a story to tell.
Okay, I've never listened to it.
No, I liked him even more probably as Cowboy Double J and the country singer Double J than anything.
Really?
His match with Shawn Michaels, In Your House, July '95. I'll preach up and down as one of my favorite matches. Maybe top 10 of all time.
No, I never.
You got a top 10 match of all time in my book. You're doing all right. I'm not gonna have the hate for you.
I gotcha.
Lance Storm has not one match in my top 1,000, so there's a big difference.
Shockingly enough, he's a Hall of Famer, which I never thought would ever happen, but it happened a couple years ago.
Double J.
Yeah, this was a weird match.
It was
very, very weird match. I feel like they probably put most of the budget on this match, I would think, just with how much was involved.
They had a lot going into it, and I still don't even know how. I guess the match and all the stuff that happened is more memorable than if they would have just had
a interesting
12-minute match, in between the ropes, and that probably would have been fine. I'm not a big Sting guy at all. I never really got into him.
I always thought he looked cool. I was a big fan of the Crow.
He was never like really bad in the ring, and neither is Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
I mean, both guys were veterans and know what they were doing. So I'll go over the points, and you kind of chime in, see what you think. So
yeah.
I'll start with more crowd brawling because it's easy, and that's on it. And this is it's lazy. That's what it is. Like when you say, "Well, let's do a little crowd brawling," because you don't really have to work, you don't really have to sell, you don't have to bump, you don't have to run the ropes. You just try to get the crowd involved and everything. But it's the fourth time tonight now. I mean, come on.
In all fairness, the last review we did, Heatwave, there was a lot of crowd stuff too, but it was much better.
It was much better, and I don't know that there really was.
I remember
the main event was tons of wild crowd brawling. Now there was wild spots throughout the night.
I remember there were. Taz and Bam Bam were all over the place.
That was a big time crowd.
There was a match prior to where they were all over the place.
Well, the tag match with Van Dam was all in the ring. Awesome and Tanaka murdered each other, but it was all in the ring. You had some really good openers. You had Lynn and Carino and
Well, my point was there was at least 2 or 3 matches where there was quite a bit of
ring.
I mean, that whole Bam Bam and Taz match was pretty much in the
But those were also the 2 main events of the show, Bam Bam and Taz, and then the 6-man tag.
Look at us having to go back to a better pay-per-view to make this one worse.
I just want to keep talking about that. Now we're almost done here. But this was at least the first one that we considered one of more main events. Like these guys are big stars.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff Jarrett wanted to be a big star. Russo wanted to be a big star. He wasn't. He's coming over from WWF in the 99 where he actually might have been at his best was the Don't Piss Me Off, putting chicks in the figure 4, Jeff Jarrett.
Introducing Deborah.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, no, that's the Jeff Jarrett I remember most.
So they got him to WCW, thought they were getting a big coup, and immediately pushed him into the main event, and he just felt like he didn't belong. But nobody really did here. So we get apparently maybe there's a backstory of watching, if you go back and watch prior Nitros, which I'm not going to do.
No.
Of Double J trying to get into Sting's head with bringing out all the old school versions of himself.
Jarrett really didn't do much this match.
No, Sting would beat him up, and then they'd send out an old school version of Sting. So you get Jabroni dressed up as old school Sting, gets the crap beat out of him.
Yeah.
The Wolfpack music hits, which is the top 5 moment of the show for me.
I have a lot lot of notes for this one. Just because of how much is going on.
There's a lot going on. So
weird OG Sting impersonators.
So then Tomato Face Sting comes out. Also gets the shit beat out of him.
Yeah, Sting pretty much says fuck Jarrett and just starts destroying all the impersonators. And Jeff Jarrett you don't even see for a good few minutes.
No. Go ahead.
I just said third Sting imposter seemed like a botch and he was delayed. Well, like there was music was playing for a minute for like probably a good 20.
I didn't even get to the third one yet. I got Jerrod hitting Sting with the baseball bat, and it bends over top of him because it's a goddamn wiffle ball bat.
Yeah, that was fake.
And it looks like shit.
Yeah. But yeah, he's destroying these impersonators.
Yeah, back in the ring. They actually a little bit of a decent match going, and then the lights go out. There was Chris Harris was dressed up as the Sting from underneath the ring.
Yeah.
It pulls him down. At
one point, a lady clearly says "fuck you" to Jerrod. Like they're next to the.
Oh, he's got it coming.
She's right next to it, but like they didn't edit it out. But she's clearly just like "fuck you" right to Jerrod's face. Sorry, I just wrote that down. But
well, then the lights go out, and we get Grandpa Sting jumping down from the rafters. Stevie Ray even calls out how shitty this guy is. Like, where'd they get this guy?
Yeah, dude, there's way too much going on in this match.
Yeah,
like one after the other.
What else do you got?
Fuck, dude, you're way ahead of me on here.
Oh, okay, you did get a lot.
I wrote, lights go out a minute later. Fifth Sting. This is the fifth Sting to come now. Sting, dickhead, descends from ceiling. Sting destroys him via announcer table.
Yes, he gives him the death drop through the table.
Sting number 4 returns, smashes Sting with a guitar. Sting recovers, takes another guitar shot from Jerrod.
Yeah, he no-sells the guitar shot from the bloody out in the ring Sting. Then he eats a death drop. Jerrod another guitar.
Yep.
Pin amongst the debris. Jerrod with another guitar and a pin amongst the guitar debris, fake strings and a whole bunch of bullshit. It sucks.
Yeah. This is where I wrote down apparently singles matches are lawless at this period.
No, yeah, there's tons of smash guitars, dead Stings, and the referee doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, tons of interference from other Stings and shit. It just. This was probably the most interesting match of the night for me, purely because I knew the two people involved, and there was so much going on.
Yeah, it had me invested.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, but it was terrible. It had me invested.
I was watching.
But I was watching. Oh, my Lanta. So next, we get the heavyweight title bout. Michael Buffer out for the crowd introduction, for the ring introductions, and it still just feels flat. You know, that's why I wrote down, like, it's Michael Buffer out here to bring out the heavyweight title match, but crowd's out of it. Booker comes out. I feel like, he deserved deserved to be a top guy because he worked his ass off and he's a talented dude.
Yeah.
But he was just being force-fed to the crowd. And his opponent, Scotty Steiner, was never better. He came off as he was better in the ring before, as young Scotty, but he actually looks like a top star.
Yeah.
It finally felt like a big star. Besides Sting, it's
Steiner, and I've thought this ever since like late career Steiner, because he looked even more so like this. But Steiner's body looks like it hurts. He looks like he's constantly in pain.
Yeah,
that's like his skin's just so tight, and he's so like veiny, and he just looks like he's always in pain. I don't know.
So I think we talked a little bit before this. I thought this was actually pretty good. I thought the match.
No, this was one of the better matches of the night. Like I said, the prior match was the most interesting. I didn't say it was the best.
Yeah. Scotty chokes out a producer in the back before going out because he's not in the last match. Which, the guy had it coming. Don't fuck around with Scotty Steiner.
He's happy. He was unhappy too about not being the main event. I don't know if that was real or.
But they played him like. I'll tell you this, for a show where Mark, take your pills.
Buffalo Dip.
For a show that really had a lack of direction and a lack of focus and a lack of strong characters and a lack of good wrestling, I have it here. Scotty was so good. Scotty felt like a lunatic. Like, he chokes out the producer for not being in the main event, and like as he's walking around the crowd, and like the crowd was like not even talking that much shit to him because it felt like he could pull one over and beat the crap out of him and make it look real. So I mean, they had me invested in what Scotty was doing here.
Yeah, and Steiner just seemed mad though. Like, he comes at a fan in the crowd. I wrote down at some point.
Yeah.
He kind of gets tired and drags ass for a minute, but then he gets incredibly aggressive towards everyone, and for seemingly no reason. He's just so aggressive towards everyone. The ref, the crowd, everyone.
I don't want to say that it felt like he was lazy as like with his actual.
I don't think he was lazy. I just felt like he got tired real quick.
Yeah,
he was expelling a bunch of energy.
He was expelling plenty of energy and yelling and talking shit.
Yeah, like but that's like purely from just like being aggressive.
He was a little bit in slow motion. Now maybe that was because he was just selling, hey, I'm a badass, I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know, he took a sweet ass time getting up and dropping an elbow drop and just stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
I get it. I have he slams Booker through the table and then talks shit to Stevie Ray about it. Yeah, which is his brother for those who don't know.
And I think I wrote that was the least intense table spot I've ever seen.
Well, I think it was a Samoan drop to the table.
Yeah, I mean, he just basically just dropped him. Yeah, like the least intense table spot.
But then getting up and talking shit to his brother, it was just fantastic. Like,
yeah,
Scotty is awesome. Finish, he beats down everybody with a pipe with no one selling.
Yeah.
Which was weird. I mean, it was him kind of going crazy, losing his shit, but nobody really saw getting hit with a pipe. I put no overall guidance. Like, it felt like, you know, if I'm the booker of the show is going, all right, he's going to go nuts. I need you guys to all go out there. He's going to have a pipe. Look, and I would tell you fucking sell it. Like, he hit you that pipe. I want you to stay down. I want everybody to be dead. I want carnage around.
Yeah.
And they just kind of got, like, hit with a pipe going, oh. Yeah. And went back to try to stop him again. Like, no.
Yeah.
It was another shitty finish. DQ finish on Scotty. Was, you know, a better worked match than most of the matches of the night. With a real fucking character that's over. And just ended with a fart in church.
Yeah. It really did.
You got anything else to add on that?
I mean, I got a little bit. Starting with the pipe shit, he destroys people. Attacks the ref, places upside down in the corner, and then the next word I wrote down is "dick smear to little Nate's face," because he did. Steiner recliner attack, second referee, back to okay. He does a Steiner recliner to the second referee. Third ref calls match. Man, my notes are bad right now.
Well, I mean, it was just straight chaos, and I'm okay with it here, as he's beating the shit out of referees, beating the shit out of security. But again, they should have all been laying just dead, a big wake of carnage, and it just didn't happen that way.
There was. Steiner basically just loses at the whole second part of the match, pretty much. Just goes apeshit.
Yeah. Well, we almost made it, pal. We almost made it. We're here.
Also, no.
Oh, we got more.
Stevie Ray doesn't even try to save his brother.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I guess...
He barely even talks trash to him. He kind of just watches.
Yeah, which, you know, probably would have been better news for him not to be out there. Just, if you don't want him to be physically involved, if we're like, we don't want to bring Stevie into this, then all you have to do is be like, listen, this is going to be a little much. I'm going to go watch this from the back because I know I'm going to get up. I'm going to get antsy. So just peter out would maybe be a better idea, but you're right.
No.
Because otherwise, I mean, because Stevie Ray was a wrestler for a long, long time. So,
no, I remember.
So you could even say, like, man, I don't know, that guy's crazy. I don't want to get in there. But, like, you don't want to pussy yourself. You know, you don't want to, that's just not smart.
Maybe he wasn't getting paid to fucking do that shit either, I guess.
They were all getting paid way too much for this show, I'll tell you that.
I believe that.
You ready to take this thing home, pal?
Yeah. This, last but certainly not least, the 2-on-1 handicap elimination match. What'd you say?
It's up there for the least.
Oh, no, okay. Maybe, all right. I stand corrected.
No, it wasn't. Mike Awesome and Vampiro is the least. But yeah, this isn't good either. Go ahead.
Goldberg versus Chronic. Brian Adams and Brian Clark.
Yes.
Which I kept getting the Brians confused because I didn't know either one. It didn't
really matter.
So I just started calling them Brian 1 and Brian 2.
Good enough.
Yeah.
They were playing up a story throughout the night that Goldberg was injured and might not be able to wrestle. And I mean,
yeah, that's
so again,
right.
You know what they're going for, but again, who cares? And you did it with Conan too tonight, and of course he wrestled. Of course he was fine.
They were selling like the feud too. That I got to see more of a lead up to this match than any other match. They gave
a little bit of a video behind it.
Although I didn't know anything about the tag team he was facing, but Goldberg needs to steer clear of ring posts. He just needs to stay away from ring posts.
That's about the only way he gets hurt is charging people and eating ring posts. Yeah,
getting him and doors.
Apparently, there was a new streak started because if he it was the streak versus his career. I guess if they beat him, he was going to retire. So,
so they tried to restart the streak.
A new streak, which doesn't work when you've lost already. And
yeah,
make it very public.
It's lost all its luster.
Yeah, correct.
I noticed Singlet and pad tan lines on the Bryans.
Okay.
They had incredibly visible tan lines when it came to their pads.
Yeah.
Their singlets, everything. Like there were white lines around each part of them. So you think they just spray tan
the shit out of themselves while they're already in their gear?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, are you in the tanning bed in your fucking gear or whatever? I don't know. Maybe that's a weird thing to notice, but it was blatantly obvious. The first thing I noticed about the match, Goldberg gets destroyed. Like, didn't see that coming. Goldberg just getting annihilated the first however
it wasn't
minutes
long.
of the match.
None of this was long, at least. I have Tony Schiavone saying, they grab a table and he goes, haven't seen one of those tonight. So just calling out the bullshit on their own show.
They set it up in the corner and shit.
Yeah.
But I remember them destroying him for quite a while, actually.
I thought it felt
surprisingly longer than I expected.
I thought it felt pretty short, to be honest. Well, I mean, by the time the finish happened, it was done pretty. I thought it was done in less than about 5 minutes.
Maybe I'm just used to Goldberg matches today,
and maybe this thing felt long because we've been watching a shitty show for a long time. I watched this in a couple pieces, but this, I mean, that's what I have. I actually have Adams and Clark, the big dudes, and maybe you can get something out of them together. So, like, I can see like the idea of, hey, we got these two guys. They're big, imposing guys. They got great looks.
Yeah.
They both do. But they both really never been any higher than mid-card and barely that. Like, they were Wrath and Bryan Adams in WCW.
I didn't know these guys at all. So
yeah, so they've been portrayed as lifelong mid-card to low-card guys. So you go, maybe we can get something out of them as a tag. Okay, I'm behind you. But now you're going to put them on in the main event of what was one of your top pay-per-views, Halloween Havoc, against Goldberg, who is, the top star, and he beats them both in about 5 minutes. And it's like, well, what did that do for Goldberg? Goldberg beat up a couple of low-card guys.
Yeah.
What did it do for your low-card guys? Nothing. They got beat up by the bigger star.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do here? This is pointless. And I said the whole main event felt like a mercy killing. Just let's get this thing over with.
It was a long drawn out version of a decent Goldberg match today.
Okay.
Kinda. Well, not really, because Goldberg
got
dominated for a minute, but he comes back a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a shittier version of that decent match he had with who was it, Brock, a few years ago, where it was surprising, like the third match with Brock.
The one at WrestleMania was actually pretty damn good. Yeah,
this was like a practice version of that or something.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it anyway.
Yeah, just not good. And I wrote down, could you imagine paying full price? You're a fan at home.
No.
Not that many people did, as we looked up. Yeah.
Yeah. And typical Goldberg fashion, jackhammer pin 1, 2, 3.
Which worked for a while.
Yeah.
It worked for a while, to be honest, and be fair to what Goldberg was. Him mowing through people, got over. But here, even then, as we talked about, everything is so much different from 98 to 2000, but that stayed the same, and it's not going to work when everything else is shit.
No, you're right. I mean, it still really hasn't changed either. I mean, my last note here is some things never change, and Goldberg is one of them. Goldberg is the same guy now that he was in that match.
Well, you know what else is never going to change is me and you putting out good content, pal.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
Again, I apologize, people, for my lack of notes here. This was just such a struggle to get through for me.
It was a struggle of a show, and then we took a couple weeks off. Usually we've been able to record every couple of weeks. Took a couple of weeks off. A little bit wrestling out for just a minute or two, but we're all feeling good, feeling inspired. Talk some wrestling. So we need a couple more topics, and I guess I don't mind saying we could take to the comments. Anybody on the Facebook page, YouTube page, you got any ideas? Reviewing the shows is kind of fun. We did a good show, we did a shitty show.
Yeah.
So we can review more shows. What else is out there? Because we can only talk so much modern wrestling because there's not constantly, there's not a CM Punk and a Bryan Danielson coming back every week.
Yeah.
So tough to always have something exciting to talk about, but we can always venture off to other topics and I don't mind coming over here, sitting down for an hour and a half and talking some wrestling. So
no, for sure. Any suggestions are welcome. Just let us know anywhere. Facebook, YouTube.
Absolutely. We keep talking about it, but we're due for that album clash.
Booking
some other friends might be a little bit difficult as we get closer to the holidays, but we'll see what we can do.
We got a Dark Side Part 2 season 3 part 2 episode to do as well, because I just finished that up for the season.
I haven't watched the steroid trial yet.
No, I just watched that last night. It was pretty good.
I watched the XPW last night.
XPW
that was a very interesting episode.
Yeah. The Luna one was pretty good too, I thought.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, they do a great job on all that. So we only got half of a season now as opposed to an entire catalog, but that's something we can touch on.
We can throw it in there like a beginning or bonus clip or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I guess unless there's something else you want to add there.
No, we'll finish up, do a little housekeeping just because I should have hit it at the beginning, but as I always say, if you ever get a chance to go check out an independent wrestling show, especially if you find tickets for $10, maybe $12, you should It's always a good time. The last time we were here talked about my double shot weekend. I wrestled out in Ashland, Ohio with ASWA. Actually wrestling a couple tag bouts out there. Awesome crowd, awesome setup. Just everything felt old school, but in the right way.
Nice.
And it's just a professionally great run organization out there. Jimmy Lee, the Living Nightmare, does an awesome job out there. And the very next day then, on a Sunday afternoon, while the Browns were playing, we still packed the house out in Beach City for Power Slam Pro Wrestling.
Hell yeah.
And it's a totally different organization, and it's a totally different vibe, too, as Jimmy Lee has been doing this for a long, long time. The folks at Power Slam, we're actually celebrating our 1-year anniversary coming up November 20th, and we are back at the Holy Trinity Church in Massillon, Ohio. They're bringing in the Cowboy James Storm, and the Beast Man will be there as well.
Beast Man returns.
So we are bringing in some heavy hitters to put on the first anniversary show. So you got wrestle for a group that's been around for over 20 years, doing a long time, to a group that's just now finishing up their first year. But with these guys, man, like they're so passionate, so dedicated. A lot of times when a start promotion starts, like there's just gonna be a lot of growing pains along the way. You got to establish your brand, you got to establish your talent, you got to establish your vision, and you're probably gonna lose a little bit of money along the way because it's hard to get all that going at once.
Yeah.
So I was happy to be a part of and be a part of this promotion, and it's less because I know for a fact it's going to be great, but it's more I trust in the guys. Chuck is the guy that I trained with, and I met his partner Brent, and they're passionate dudes. They're willing to take some advice and some criticisms and just keep continually trying to make a better product. And so again, on a Sunday afternoon, which is a weird time, running against the Cleveland Browns, they packed the place. I had an awesome match with a young man named Mr. Crummels, who's one of the top trainers up at Mega Championship Wrestling. Had a hell of a match, and it's all available on YouTube too. So if you want to go take a look,
there you go. You don't know.
Punch in Power Slam Pro Wrestling for their channel, and ASWA Ringside for their channel on YouTube, and you can check all my matches out from there. And don't forget to check it out November 20th. I'll be sharing on Facebook, sharing on the show page as well. Get out there for independent. It's a 4:00 bell time on a Saturday, so you don't have to be out all night.
Oh yeah, and I guess if you want a Wilbur Whitlock shirt, you get a.
Want to represent the mean streets.
The main streets
of East Canton, Ohio. Those shirts are selling like hotcakes, and I can't thank everybody enough. Thank you for designing it.
Nah, thank you for the shirt.
It's looking good, pal. You're gonna look good in that thing.
I will.
So you might not be tough enough to survive on the mean streets, but if you wear a shirt that's repping, you can slide on through.
You can at least portray yourself as someone who could.
Exactly. So wrestling life is going good. Life is going all right. Got Thanksgiving coming up in a few weeks, which is my favorite holiday. But before that, we'll be back to talk a little more wrestling.
Maybe for the Thanksgiving episode, I'll dress up as a turkey.
Woo!
Gobble, gobble, mother. Okay.
Woo.
But anything else, sir, you'd like to throw out there?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I kind of took over there at the end, but yeah.
No,
good.
that's what we do. That's why it's housekeeping.
Yeah.
I guess with that said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
T-shirts available.
On
all sorts
Facebook.
of T-shirts you can rep.
Also, just so you guys know, I didn't let this be known in the last one at all. Although I don't know if I think it happened in between. But the podcasts are now available on like Facebook, Audible, Amazon. So I switched host providers or whatever, and so now we're available in a lot more different places. And Facebook just opened up their platform only on mobile, though. You can't do it on the PC version.
Interesting.
But only on mobile you can listen to the podcast.
That's all I ever do my business on anyways. So,
yeah, I just know Facebook gets a lot of traffic. A lot of people are on there. So I figure that's probably a good platform to have it on.
I think it's a good platform. And what would probably be cool is, we sometimes it might be intimidating to sit down and listen to an hour and a half pod, which is exactly where we're at right now as we keep talking. But Mark puts together cool little snippets, little side pieces, little 3-4 minute clips. You can get a good glimpse of it. If you are a fan of the show and want to share with any other wrestling fan or any other friends or what have you, show them one of those. Show them me getting angry about something. That's usually what it is.
Oh, yeah. He does too. But any audio listeners too that don't know, youtube.com/Ohio Wrestlecast. You can watch these episodes in video form. You can see our pretty faces.
Show them some of the small clips first. Watch some of the small clips first.
You can see us yell at Walt. Why are we yelling at Walt? You can see why. You know what I mean?
Yeah, coming. And now he's looking such a sweet boy.
Yeah, if only would have done this a fucking hour and a half.
Yeah, hit me and the kitty. But your other one is going nuts. I'm hungry. I'm ready to call
I need a smoke. So I guess with that said,
bye, Internet. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. I'm tail. How we